I've always been known for my calm. People say I'm the man who built an empire one line of code at a time, who could sit for hours solving problems no one else understood, but there was a day, long after Microsoft had conquered the world, when I lost that calm completely, and it taught me a lesson I never forgot. It happened during a board meeting at Redmond. One of those endless sessions where numbers, projections, and egos collided. We were discussing a major product launch, and the pressure was enormous, billions of dollars on the line. Thousands of employees waiting for decisions, and the whole world watching every move. One of my senior executives, a brilliant man but stubborn as stone, kept arguing against a change I believed was essential. I had data, logic, and experience on my side, but he wouldn't budge. "Bill," he said, "you're wrong on this one. The market doesn't want what you think it does." The room fell silent. No one contradicted me like that, not in those days. I looked at him, my jaw tightening, and replied, "I didn't build this company by guessing what the market wants. I built it by creating what it needs." He smiled faintly, leaned back, and said, "Sometimes your vision blinds you." Something in me snapped. Maybe it was exhaustion, maybe pride, maybe the years of being treated like every idea I had was automatically right. I slammed my fist on the table so hard that the pens jumped. "Enough!" I shouted, my voice echoing off the glass walls. Do you have any idea how many times people told me I was wrong before we changed the world? Everyone froze. You could have heard the hum of the air conditioner. For a few seconds, I felt powerful, like I had reminded the room who I was. But as silence filled the air, that power turned into something else: shame. I saw the fear in their eyes, not respect, not inspiration. Just quiet fear. The meeting ended quickly after that. No one looked me in the eye, and as I walked back to my office, the echo of my own anger followed me like a ghost. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept replaying the moment, the sound of my voice, the way my team had shrunk back. Success can make you forget that people follow your calm more than your command. Anger may win an argument, but it loses hearts. I realized that while I had spent my life fighting to be right, I was slowly forgetting how to be kind. The next morning, I called that same executive to my office. He walked in looking nervous, probably expecting a resignation talk. Instead, I stood up, extended my hand, and said, "I owe you an apology." He blinked in disbelief. I was angry. "Not because you were wrong, but because you challenged me, and I forgot that challenge is what keeps us sharp." His eyes softened, and he smiled. "It takes strength to admit that." "Bill," I laughed quietly, "no, it takes fear. Fear of becoming the kind of leader I promised I'd never be." Years later, during a speech to young entrepreneurs, someone asked me, "What was your biggest mistake?" And without thinking, I said, "Losing my temper in front of people who looked up to me." They laughed, thinking I was joking, but I wasn't. That one moment taught me more than any business deal ever could. I learned that anger, no matter how justified, always costs more than it gives. It burns bridges faster than success can build them. And the worst part is, it blinds you. You stop seeing the person, and only see the disagreement. After that day, I started practicing something simple before every meeting. I'd take a deep breath and remind myself, "You're here to build, not to break." It sounds small, but it changed everything. I began listening more, speaking less. I learned that silence often has more power than shouting. When people feel safe to disagree with you, that's when innovation truly happens. Microsoft became stronger because of that change, not because of my genius, but because I stopped letting my emotions run the company. And on a personal level, it changed my relationships too. I stopped trying to win arguments with friends, stopped needing to be the smartest man in every room. I realized that being right is overrated when it comes at the cost of peace. A few years later, that same executive who stood up to me became one of my most trusted advisors. One day, over coffee, he said, "You know, that argument was the best thing that ever happened to us." I smiled and replied, "Funny, it felt like the worst at the time." He chuckled, "That's how lessons come, disguised as anger." We laughed. But deep down, I knew he was right. The day I lost my temper wasn't the day I failed as a leader. It was the day I learned what real leadership means. Staying calm when everything inside you wants to explode. Looking back, I realized that anger is like fire. It can forge steel or burn bridges, depending on how you control it. I still get angry. I'm human after all, but now I use it as fuel, not a weapon. When I see injustice, inequality, or wasted potential, that anger pushes me to act, but never to hurt. I remind myself that every person I speak to, whether it's a billionaire or a janitor, deserves the same tone, the same respect, the same patience. Because true power isn't in raising your voice, it's in keeping your voice steady when everyone else loses theirs. So yes, I lost my temper once. And it cost me my pride for a night, but it bought me wisdom for a lifetime. And if there's one thing I'd tell anyone listening today, it's this. Success will test your patience more than failure ever will. It's easy to stay calm when you're losing, because you have nothing to protect, but when you're winning, every disagreement feels personal. Every challenge feels like an attack. That's when you must remind yourself, humility built your success, and only humility can keep it standing. Never let anger speak louder than your purpose. Because one loud moment can erase years of quiet respect. So, the next time you see me smiling during a heated debate or staying quiet when I'm provoked, know this, it's not because I don't feel anger. It's because I learned, in the hardest way possible, that the calmest man in the room always wins in the end.